Before this started, man, we were rocking and rolling in here about the point system. The first thing we were talking about was last night with Hector Lombard and Neil Magny, which, you know, when would you have called that fight?
I would have called it in the second round.
Oh, the second round. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. The real thing is, what people are looking at, you know, a lot of people are going to sit there, but, well, why wouldn't you stop in the first round? Because Magny was really hurt. He was hurt. And this is, you know, our job is to try to let those people get through when they are hurt, but they are still actively trying to compete. When we talk about long ago at UFC 3, I came up with, look, I'm going to stop the fight if the fighter cannot intelligently defend themselves. And you look at what happened in the first round with Neil Magny and Lombard. Neil was hurt, but he was actively trying to protect himself. He was doing the right things. He's moving, and that's what we're asking of him. In the back, when we talk about, you hear us in, like, when we're going to talk between two fighters before a main event, we say, hey, protect yourself at all times. We've gone over the rules, protect yourself at all times, obey our commands, all that stuff. When we say we've gone over the rules, what we've gone over is about conduct and what we're looking for. And what I'll tell the fighter in the back is, look, if you get hit with a shot and it hurts you, similar to what, you know, Hector Lombard hit Neil with a shot, it hurt him. You could see it. And you get into a position where this person is coming down and they're attacking you, and if I don't think you're defending yourself in an intelligent fashion, if you are still able to consciously hear me, I'm going to be telling you, and I would tell Neil, move, get out. If you hear those words, move, get out, it's telling you, Neil, if you stay with what you're doing, I'm going to stop your fight. So what I expect of you is, you hear those words, I want you to try to move the position, try to take away what he's attacking you with, show me that you want to be part of the fight. As long as you're trying, I don't care if you're successful. I care that you're trying. As long as you're trying, I'm going to let the fight go. It's when you don't try, or you can't, you're stuck in a position that you can't get yourself out of, and you're accepting damage, the fight's going to come to an end.
Well, what do you mean by defending intelligently? Because there's times where they'll still be putting their hands up or something. So where does the intelligently, or where does the line come in?
When you talk about intelligent defense, you're talking about if a guy is coming with heavy blows and you're putting your hand up to the side of your face, we'll say, and he's sitting there with a heavy blow coming down on it, it doesn't matter that his hand is hitting your hand, because your hand is attached to your head, and what it's doing is it's scrambling your brains. That's what we can't have. But if you're doing things as far as taking my hand and putting it up and trying to move myself and just move the position, so now I make the person on top of me alter what they're doing. Altering, they have to stop, they have to wait, now they try for another shot. All of those things are someone who's doing something in an intelligent fashion. Even though they're accepting damage, what they're doing is they're fighting intelligently. You look at that first round, Neil fought intelligently. He was hurt, but throughout it, he was going, he pulled himself into guard, he tried to get himself back up, he went back to guard, he did all of the things that we look at that we're saying he is still in that fight. You get to the second round, and Hector's tired. He burned himself out trying to put Neil away, and then he gets hurt, and then he's in positions where now it's different. At the end, near the end of that second round, he's got Neil on his back. He's what we call rear mount. He's got hooks in, and if you look, his legs are up off of the ground, so he has no hips. His hips are gone, and all he's doing is getting hit. And he's in that position where we'll say, if you hear me tell you, move, get out, and you don't try, or you can't because of the position you're in, the fight's coming to an end. And that's why that would have been the difference in why you stopped in the second round and you didn't stop in the first.
Were you given any guidance? Was any of this guidance given to you by, like, the UFC, the athletic commissions? Like, where are you? I think that's my answer.
Yeah,
but
I like that. That's beautiful. You know, that's the whole thing is, you know, now I teach classes and stuff, and I try to get people educated as far as why we do things, what we want to do, and it's so people don't make mistakes that I had to make. But, you know, I had to learn on my own. You know, back when the UFC started, you know, there was nothing like it, and I was the pariah. People looked at me, and, you know, the other referees from boxing, you know, I was the bad guy. So none of them wanted anything to do with me. I had to figure things out. I had to make a mistake, look at it, say, okay, how did that mistake happen, and what can I do to make this better the next time? And it was trial and error. And so, you know, now I go and I give that information to every referee I can in MMA, because that's what's right for the sport of MMA. Whether the referee uses it, that's, you know, upon them. I can't tell them, what they have to do. I can tell them this is what you should do and this is why, and then it's on them to do the right thing.
When Neil Magny got hit in the second round, he went backwards and he landed right in his guard. I remember something like that, correct? Hector hit him like a straight and he went backwards. Sometimes a guy gets hit, he hits the canvas, and just by look at his eye, or you guys catch a little bit that he goes out, it's over. Like, once he goes out just a little bit, you guys see that. I don't see that at home. I don't have the eyes. Like, it's very weird that you knew Magny was he was hurt, but he was just at home. That experience, you could watch it on the TV, and you pretty much know. I didn't know at times if he was hurt or.
Well, when you look at, let's take a look at that. And there's different types of knockdowns, and obviously there's a ton of different knockdowns. But I'll break knockdowns into 5 different categories. All right, and Neil Magny had the very first category. When we have a guy, we can all fall backwards. Okay, we're not meant to go backwards. We're meant to go forwards. As a human being, that's the way our body is set up. But Neil gets hit with a shot and he goes back. But when you see him falling down, the first thing you see as he's going backwards is you see his hands starting to go backwards with him. And they're going backwards to actually brace the fall.
Right.
Okay, that right there tells you his brain is connected. He knows where he's at. And it doesn't mean that the guy can't come and follow up and hurt him more and put him out. But at that moment, I'm going to let the fight go because I see that his brain is still working. He can still function, and he's in a position where he can defend himself. Then you'll get to the next type of knockdown. The second type is going to be where he gets hit and he's going backwards, but the difference is he doesn't put his hands out. And sometimes guys they're not completely out, but they're going down and their hands are starting to try to go that direction, but they're still either down by their sides, out in front of them, sometimes up. That's a step up by far, and you become more acute to looking at the fighter and getting information as quick as you can as far as, am I going to let that continue on or am I going to take him out? Then you'll get ones where guys fall to the sides. We as human beings don't fall going sideways. All right, if I stand you here sideways and I push you, your foot's going to automatically step out and catch you. But when your brain is disconnected, your foot doesn't go out. And so when you get pushed, you just start doing the leaning tower and you end up going down. And so that's the next evolution of the knockdown, where someone is going down, going sideways. It's telling you they're having a problem. Their brain has been at least disconnected where the neurons aren't firing the right way. The next type you get is they go forward. We don't fall forward. If I come up behind you and I push you as hard as I can, you're going to start to almost run to stop that momentum and slow yourself down and keep yourself from falling down. Because we've got these big flippers in front of us. They're called our feet. But if someone goes forward and goes down, it's telling you they've been disconnected. And the last one you'll see is you get the ones where sometimes guys they get shut down like a computer. And Crow Cop, when he got kicked by Gonzaga long ago, and they do this, it's almost like they're a building in Vegas, a hotel that's being brought down, and they implode upon themselves. Their brain's been completely shut off. It's telling you, well, those are things that as a referee you're looking at and so they help you as far as that time. You don't have a lot of time, so you utilize those things to give you an idea of how hurt is that person. But there's times when we'll get guys that, Benson Henderson was the first, was the one that a lot of people talked about. John Couch is Benson's coach. John Couch is an outstanding coach. He just does a great job with his guys. But Benson fought, Rafael dos Anjos, and I did the fight. And he gets hit with a shot and he gets hurt, but as he's going down, you can see his hand going down, and I'm coming in to look at him, but I know he's okay. I'm going to let him go. And as he comes up, he gets hit with a shot, and I watch him. He just implodes. He goes out. And I'm telling myself I'm stopping the fight because he cannot defend himself when he's out. And as he hits the ground, he kind of comes out, but I'm already pulling Dos Anjos out. And John Couch, his coach is going, John, you got to give him a chance to recover. And I said, John, he went out. And he goes, no, you got to give me this. John, it's over. And, John and I have known each other for years, and we kind of had this thing. And finally, I told him, I said, shut the fuck up. And he looked at me, and I said, I don't want to hear a goddamn thing. And later on, he comes up to me and says, hey, I'm sorry. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I go, but he went out, John. I said, how many shots do you want me to take when he's unconscious? How many shots do you want me to have him take? And he goes, no, I want you to protect him. You did the right thing. But these are those things. We can never predict the future. We can always use hindsight to look back and go, that would have been better if we did it this way. But your job is to protect the fighter when they can't protect themselves. And that is a decision that is not an easy decision, because you want to let the fighter go as far as they can go in the competition. I always say, I want the guy, I'm going to let him swim into really deep waters, but I am not going to let you fucking drown. Okay? That's not my job. My job is to keep you from drowning. And if you're starting to drown, like Hector Lombard was yesterday, fight's over. It showed you, look at what happened. He got a minute's rest. And then he comes back out, and right away, what happened? He's done, because he has pushed himself past a point where his cardiovascular is out, and he's accepted so much damage at that point, he just doesn't function as the fighter that he really is, because he's been altered by what Neil Magny did.